This is the year I truly decided to give my life to Star Trek. Nerd! Forget going to the gym, forget, getting my credit better. I decided to give my heart and soul to Gene Roddenberry and Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner. Everything imaginable to Star Trek. Growing up, I'd seen so many things that had referenced Star Trek that I thought, well, I'm going to be like 30 and never seen a whole episode of Star Trek. I personally loved it. I found it to be just exciting. The colors on that show just are so beautiful and so just vibrant. Cheesy, yes.
No, Jim!
But, when you go from Star Trek, the original series, you gotta go to Star Trek, the motion picture. Now, I was scared to watch this film. I once asked somebody, what was your least favorite thing about Star Trek, the motion picture? And they said, oh my god, it's slow. It's so slow. So, when I decided to watch the motion picture, and the credits rolled, and Jerry Goldsmith's score filled the room, I realized I was watching one of the most ambitious science fiction films ever made. What's crazy to me is that Star Trek the Motion Picture feels like early Spielberg, it feels like some of the best Star Trek episodes all at once, and it has a dash of Andrei Tarkovsky in there. And I know it sounds a little stupid, but the endless possibility of space is the antagonist of Star Trek the Motion Picture. It's refreshing to see how an all-consuming power that seemingly can't be reasoned with or understood is what brings our crew back together.
Why, it's Mr. Spock. Spock.
Another thing I really like about this film is that it's not a wish fulfillment movie. Many people would have been okay with this film being like, beam me up, Scotty, I gotta fight some aliens and make out with some beautiful woman. No, we do not get that at all. If they would have done that, it would have felt boring and safe. And Star Trek has never been about being safe, or boring for that matter. Even the worst episodes, as boring or as badly paced they are, they're compelling in some way or another, and there's an idea there. Robert Wise, a director known for The Day the Earth Stood Still, West Side Story, and The Sound of Music, tries his hardest to find the visual wonder of space and the pathos of the iconic Enterprise crew, all within the confines of Gene Roddenberry's iron grip. There's a strong idea, there wasn't a strong, I don't want to say group of people making it together, but this was a very much the opposite of the film, where you see the crew come back together, but the crew behind the film never quite gelled.
We had to push like mad to get the film done.
It's easy to say cloud in a screenplay, but when you got to actually execute it, it can't be just a cloud.
The special effects and production design, which have more in common with Solaris instead of Star Wars, go for a more awe-inspiring aesthetic instead of pulse-pounding popcorn entertainment. It's also a miracle that the actors found ways to inject new life into their characters, because, they were in danger of becoming parodies of themselves by this time. But what really gripped me at first was that the crew is in shambles on a personal level. Kirk has let age bitter his ego. Bones still would rather be anywhere else. The floor crew are cogs in the machine, wanting the old days back. And Spock is a supreme
Mr. Spock.
asshole.
Well, so help me, I'm actually pleased to see you.
Leonard Nimoy has always been the MVP of the original series, and his character here, Spock, gets so much needed depth.
This simple feeling is beyond Vidra's comprehension.
Without getting into spoilers, I was very impressed with how they pulled off his arc here, because it could have felt cheesy and over the top, but it's sweet and gives a certain gravitas to Star Trek that wasn't there before. Now, as much as I love Spock and I love what Leonard Nimoy did with his performance here, there are two things that really carry Star Trek the motion picture, and that's William Shatner's subtle yet stern performance and Jerry Goldsmith's score. As much as I hate to agree with the constant detractors of this film, it does have pacing issues. But the film is so much more than just the pacing issues, okay? Just because it's slow doesn't mean it's boring, and that slowness adds to the wondrous sense of adventure and discovery, especially in the characters and the locations they go to. Star Trek the motion picture might not seem like a candidate for bold films, but in my opinion, it's one of the most inspiring adaptations I've ever seen.